For today's headlines, signs point to Digong anointing BBM according to Baste. PCG China ships in close call. MNLF supports Mindanao peace effort. Go pushes health programs continuity. No Quiboloy extradition yet according to Department of Justice. Medical issues raised over Taal eruption. Ragtag taekwondo team off to Hanoi. Russia opposes unipolar world, says Pavlov. Good morning, I am Venice Bautista and this is Tribune News on Q. Today is March 28, 2022, and these are the latest news of this Monday morning. Presidential son and Davao City Vice Mayor Sebastian Baste Duterte said Sunday he sees signs that his father, President Rodrigo Duterte, would eventually endorse palace hopeful Bongbong Marcos. PDP Laban recently endorsed Bongbong's candidacy, saying his platform aligned the most with the ruling party's 11-point agenda. Baste also disclosed that Bongbong, who hails from way up north in Ilocos Norte, is dominating local surveys in Davao City. In his speech during the program in Polomok, South Cotabato, Baste urged the supporters not to argue with critics of the Bongbong-Sara tandem on social media. He likewise appealed to them to show the same amount of support that the voters gave his father when he ran for president in the 2016 elections for Sara's vice presidential bid. In other news, the Philippine Coast Guard or PCG confirmed on Sunday that one of its vessels nearly had a collision with its Chinese counterpart at the vicinity of Bajo de Masinloc. BRP Malabrigo had a close call with the Chinese Coast Guard or CCG vessel with bow number 3305 on March 2 after the latter maneuvered closely, the PCG said. The two vessels came within 21 yards of each other, with the PCG saying that the Chinese boat's move was in clear violation of the 1972 international regulations for preventing collisions at sea. It is otherwise known as Scarborough Shoal. Bajo de Masinloc is part of a territory being claimed by the Philippines and the People's Republic of China, among other nations. The Philippines considers the shoal as part of Zambales province. And this week, the PCG reported that about 45 Filipino fishing boats had been monitored at the shoal under its protective blanket. PCG Commandant Admiral Artemio Abu said the incident was the fourth reported close-distance maneuvering incident involving PCG and CCG vessels in the shoal. Moro National Liberation Front or MNLF chairperson Nur Misawari has vowed to continuously collaborate and support the peace efforts of the military and the national government that would yield to the attainment of lasting peace in Mindanao, particularly in the Bangsamoro region. Armed Forces of the Philippines Western Mindanao Command or AFP West MINCOM Commander Lieutenant General Alfredo Rosario Jr. yesterday said Misawari had assured him that the defunct MNLF will continue to assist the government in its peace effort in Mindanao. Rosario met Misawari at his residence in Davao City on Friday and discussed remedies to further improve the peace condition in Muslim-dominated areas in Mindanao, particularly in the Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi or the Basulta province. According to Rosario, the former MNLF chairman stressed that the AFP and the MNLF have established a good working relationship that is anchored on the 1996 GRP-MNLF Final Peace Agreement. Misawari also acknowledged the implementation of the government's programs in the Bangsamoro, which include the formulation of the MNLF Transformation Roadmap spearheaded by Secretary Carito Galvez Jr., the Presidential Advisor on Peace, Reconciliation, and Unity. Currently, the Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process, in partnership with the Joint Task Force Sulu, is finalizing the implementing rules and regulations for the MNLF Transformation Roadmap. The roadmap includes all of the government's initiatives, projects, and other developmental activities such as socioeconomic, community healing and reconciliation, and security and confidence building measures that will be implemented in the identified MNLF communities. Tribune News on Q will be back after these reminders.
Mahalin natin ang Pilipinas.
Lilipad na ang agila, magtatanggol, magmamahal sa ating bansa.
We shall fly, soar, fight, and win!
Mapalutong bahay man o sumptuous meal for special occasions, sagot na kayo ng tropang Kalanpag. Dahil atid sa inyo ng Daily Tribune ang fun and exciting cooking show na Kalanpag, manood at matuto kung paano lutuin ang mga favorite nyong recipes. Sabayan pa ng fun and inspiring na kwentuhan sa kusina. I-upgrade na rin natin ang mga nakasanayang traditional dish ng pamilya. Plus, healthy tipid tips na ibabahagi ng tropang Kalanpag. Matuto, mabusog at good vibes dito lang sa Kalanpag tuwing Lunes, 10:30 a.m. sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube.
We're back on Tribune News on Q. Senator Christopher Bongo expressed hope that the many legacies of President Rodrigo Duterte will be adopted by the next administration, including the Malasakit centers, which now number 151 across the country. Go said that establishing the centers came off their personal experiences, he as a quarterback to the then Davao City mayor, when they dealt with the many poor people who came at City Hall seeking help. He recounted that as mayor, the president attended to the long queues of people from all walks of life, including those that had come from neighboring provinces to seek medical assistance. He said that 3 years since the establishment of the first such center, the government has already aided more than 3 million Filipinos in need of health care. Along with the senator said that he took it upon himself to sponsor or support bills that were passed into law, establishing or expanding hospitals around the country and policies protecting the poor by regulating the retail prices of medicines. Go cited the need to continue strengthening the country's healthcare system, even as it tries to exit from the COVID-19 pandemic. He said that as he approaches the second half of his Senate term, he'd continue to seek avenues to help more Filipinos in need. The Department of Justice has yet to receive any formal endorsement from the Department of Foreign Affairs in the possible extradition of Pastor Apollo Quiboloy, leader of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, to the United States to face a sex trafficking case. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara said the DFA would be the first agency to receive any request for Quiboloy's extradition from the U.S. government. It has been 4 months since Quiboloy was indicted by a U.S. federal grand jury with sex trafficking, along with 2 co-defendants identified as Teresita Tolibas, Dandan, and Felina Salinas. The U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation has also posted in its website Quiboloy's picture to announce that he is wanted for conspiracy to engage in sex trafficking by force, fraud and coercion, in sex trafficking of children, sex trafficking by fraud, force and coercion, conspiracy, bulk cash smuggling. Quiboloy's indictment in the U.S. has raised the possibility of the U.S. government seeking his extradition to undergo trial for the said charges. Meanwhile, the Department of Health has warned of health issues that may affect residents near Taal volcano following the phreatogmatic eruption at its main crater over the weekend. Alert Level 3 remained raised over Taal volcano after at least 2 similar eruptions were recorded early Sunday morning. About 900 families had been relocated away from danger zones, according to local authorities. Ashfall and sulfur dioxide emission averaged 6,957 tons a day, prompting health risk warnings from the DOH. Health officials advised residents near the volcano to stay at home, close doors and windows, and to always wear masks, as well as eye protection and skin coverings. The TVN said it recorded 14 volcanic earthquakes, including 10 volcanic tremor events lasting 2 to 3 minutes in the last 24 hours. 4 low-frequency volcanic earthquakes were also noted by the Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology in its bulletin on Sunday morning. PVOX and TVN said the main crater activities were mainly the upwelling of hot volcanic fluids at Taal Lake. The latest volcanic activity brought about the possible hazards of pyroclastic density currents and volcanic tsunami should stronger eruptions subsequently occur. Tribune News on Q will be back. Stay with us.
Mga katribu, tara na't makiisa at matuto sa mga public service programs hatid ng Kalingang Katribu. Tuwing Lunes, nandyan ang usapang business na magbibigay tips at inspirasyon sa mga aspiring entrepreneurs kasama si Vernon Velasco. Tuwing Miyerkules, usapang pangkalusugan naman ang tatalakayin ni Miss Cory Quirino sa Health and Wellness. At tuwing Biyernes naman, kung legal advice ang kailangan mo, sagot ka na ng Legal Diaries kasama si Elmer Navarro Manuel at mga guest lawyers. Lahat ng niya mapapanood tuwing alas 3:30 ng hapon sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube.
You are still watching Tribune News on Q. The national taekwondo team's quest to retain the 31st Southeast Asian Games crown in Hanoi is in danger. Philippine Taekwondo Association Director Stephen Fernandez said host Vietnam and Thailand appear hell-bent in knocking the Southeast Asian Games crown off the Philippines' head. Last time the Southeast Asian Games was held in Manila, the host took 8 gold, 9 silver, and 4 bronzes to take the overall title. The Thais wound up with a 736 medal haul, while the Vietnamese had a tally of 527 in 2019. Led by Tokyo Olympics campaigner Kurt Barbosa and veteran Christy Alora, the Philippines will send a total of 19 bets to the May 12 to 23 Sports Fest. But not on the team are gold medalist Christopher Uy and Pauline Lopez, as she is recovering from COVID. In their absence, elevated for national duties are young talents Israel Santos and Shaifa de la Cruz. Despite the grim outlook, Fernandez is not about to hand the crown on a silver platter. Russian ambassador to the Philippines, Marat Pavlov, maintained over the weekend that his country is interested in cooperating with all countries, particularly on an equal, mutually beneficial basis. Pavlov issued his statement during the webinar Ukraine-Russia Crisis, Untold Story, Impact on the Asia on the Philippines, hosted by think tank Integrated Development Studies Institute Philippines. Pavlov averred that the Russian approach to foreign policy in Asian countries is very positive. University of the Philippines professor Bobby Tuazon said the Russia-Ukraine crisis is somehow the end of the unipolar world, or a condition in which one state enjoys power without being challenged. This was backed by Pavlov, saying that the Russian policy stands for a multipolar world. Russia is interested in cooperation with all countries on an equal, fair, and mutually beneficial basis, Pavlov said. And that wraps up the stories this morning, but before we go, we would like to thank the following: SM Store, Aranda City, Department of Tourism, MG Motors, Hina Motors Security Bank, Empire Eastland Holdings Incorporated, and Overseas Community Affairs Council Member Alan Lin of Republic of China for their continued support. Again, this is Venice Bautista on Tribune News on Q. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good morning.
Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. Download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS and Google Play for Android to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune invites you to join its Viber community, Katribu, to get updates on the hottest news on politics, business, sports, lifestyle, and entertainment. Emoticons of the Tribune mascot Tarsito are available on our community Viber.